Okay, everybody, I'm going to begin. Welcome to week three. We are in week three, jamming along here really well. Again, great work everybody's been doing. Appreciate all of it. Um, tonight we're going to go over a little bit of building powerful marketing strategies. Um, Again, I want to, Gene. Yes, I got your email. Just sent something back to you. Welcome everybody. Appreciate all the chat's open. If you have any questions or comments, feel free. So we're going to talk a little bit about little business success today in the competitive landscape. And what I'm going to talk a little bit about is a step-by-step approach to developing the strategy to look at how you drive results and some of the real world examples. I want to share a little snippet from earlier today showing you one of the biggest events with marketing and innovation. If any of you have been watching the financial channels, watching business news and that, but as you know, SpaceX stock went public and there's a gajillion amount of millionaires and one trillionaire, Elon, that basically has been the foundation of this stock and of the growth of it and of the astronomical amount of discussion about it has been because it is the merger of marketing, promotions, SpaceX, Elon, and innovation of their goal to try to get people into space. Even Elon, I don't know if anybody knows, but even Elon's compensation is his compensation is correlated to, I guess he gets basically a trillion shares or something, a million shares, more shares if a million people move to Mars, which is really kind of a diabolical assumption of that way. So it's really kind of interesting. But I do want to share with you a little bit of the synopsis of the view of how they're looking at this. And I want to share with you a little bit of a snippet from today's financial channel, talking a little bit about how the stock continues to keep surging and just becoming an amazing talking point here. So let me share this with you.
Continue to talk SpaceX. It's only the fourth day of trading. It's added $1 trillion in market cap since Friday. It is currently the fifth largest company in the world, almost the fourth if it overtakes Microsoft, only like a measly $100 billion away. And adding to the confusion about whether it's primarily traded as a rocket company, a telecom provider, or an artificial intelligence play. Let's bring in Bloomberg Intelligence Global Head of Tech Coverage, Mandeep Singh, for this conversation. And you've had a lot of practice on this kind of talk because we've been doing it with Tesla for the past 15 years, right? Is that a car company? Do they make humanoid robots, right? Who cares, right? It's just an Elon Musk company, and so you should buy it.
Well, I think the difference was Tesla was quite early stage when we started talking about it during their life as a public company. And I think SpaceX, when I look at the market cap surpassing Amazon, I mean, there's a lot baked into the expectations. And look, I am excited about orbital compute. I am really excited about the Cursor acquisition. To me, Cursor could leapfrog into a frontier model provider because of the compute now they have from SpaceX. So if they're able to retain the talent at Cursor and really scale Cursor, they would become a formidable player, the likes of Anthropic and OpenAI, and they could be a challenger in that regard. But it's a big if that, everyone stays from Cursor and they're able to scale that up. And it's already priced in when I look at, the market cap of SpaceX.
By the way, this market cap is stale.
Oh yeah,
it says 2.654 trillion, but actually
about 2.7 now.
Yeah, I mean 2.680.
round up to 2.7. And just on that note, I mentioned this earlier, Mandeep, but Bill Ackman putting out on X yesterday, one of the things that makes SpaceX so valuable is how valuable it is. Talking about the Cursor acquisition costing material less than dilution because of the high valuation. How important has it been for SpaceX to see this kind of not this kind of market action, it's only up 0.2%, but to see the prior day's market action in order to achieve the goals it wants, like buying Cursor?
Look, I think overall, where they are right now, I can see SpaceX ramping up their CapEx now. Remember, all the hyperscalers will be putting almost $100 billion plus in CapEx in 2026 and possibly in 2027. So from that perspective, SpaceX with this market cap has already become a hyperscaler. I can see them inching towards that $100 billion capex just to set up compute. And the reason why, we are talking about revenue growing threefold from 18 billion in their S1 is because of the compute deals. And these are terrestrial compute data centers that they're renting.
Revenue will grow threefold and losses will grow, 4 or 5 times? What's the loss revenue ratio for SpaceX going to grow to?
Well, the compute...
They're going to lose twice as much money as they make in revenue. But not with the
compute deals. I'm going to push back a little bit on the compute deal. So if you look at the compute rental business, yes, it's not very high margin business, but that will not compound their losses. I mean, if anything, they're renting their Blackwells and the latest NVIDIA chips for a higher rental price than your neocloud providers like CoreWeave and Nebius. So from that perspective, $11 an hour for the Blackwell GPUs is far higher than what anyone else is commanding right now. And I was surprised to see why Google is really paying up that much when they have their own TPUs. The answer is because xAI has the data centers with power. Everyone else is struggling to procure power right now for their chips. So it will be margin accretive for sure when it comes to.
So I wanted to show you that so you can see a little bit of understanding. I think the most interesting part, if you get a chance to look in the lower right-hand corner, it shows you the market cap. And it's just so funny when you watch the stock actually fluctuate. The market cap, I mean, it goes from 2.68 to 2.67 to 2.69, back and forth. And it's like $1 billion is moving the worth of a company in every couple seconds, which is really kind of, tough to fathom in that way. But I wanted to share that with you because to understand a little bit of what we're talking about here in the difference between marketing and innovation. SpaceX, they talked about bought a company called Cursor, which is a AI coding company. So basically, it's a company that allows them to add AI coding aspects to the company to help them build faster in their technology, which allows them to even become a bigger company. They also are going to be able to help other companies grow that way. So it's kind of like, as they were saying, the innovation of it. Are you betting on a rocket? Are you betting on technology? Are you betting on AI? It's a variety of everything. So you're really betting on the evolution of a visionary individual with some incredibly smart people around him that are proficient in this particular aerospace world. So really fascinating the way things have been. Exactly, Gene. It's such a crazy rich company in that way. So let me first go over, I'm going to share with you a little bit of what we have in our course module, and then we'll jump into the material. So we are in module 3 in week 3 here. This week you have 2 discussion boards with an assignment. The discussion boards this week basically are going to, many of you have already started, but you're going to be, again, choosing a business. And again, a couple of people asked whether they can continue on. Feel free to continue on the businesses that you've been working on. It allows you kind of to really delve deeper into these particular companies. So you're going to evaluate a company and look at their market objectives. And again, you're going to provide a discussion about the following items related to your selected business. The ultimate strategic goal. What is their ultimate strategic goal? Okay. The market development opportunity, the market penetration opportunity, meaning is it a first mover? Is it one that's imitating another? Is it looking to grow into this market share? The diversification opportunity, what opportunities does it have to grow in different areas? And then the product development opportunity. So that's what you're going to look at that particular discussion board A. When you go into B, you're going to start to look more at the customer collaboration type. And in this one, pull it up here, it's running a little slow. In this one, you're going to answer the questions as we were going to be discussing the aspect of a lot of things focusing on customer objectives, collaborator objectives, and competitive objectives. So the objectives are broken down into three different ways. What kind of relationship does it have with its customers? What kind of relationship does it have maybe with a strategic partner? And what kind of relationship does it deal with in competitors? Okay, how are they positioned? What do I mean by relationship? So again, back to the company, looking at the customer objectives relating to customer relationships, branding, meaning how are they connect with them? Social media, do they part of like say Harley Davidson that has a global community that they work with? How is their branding? When we look at Tesla, again, you have a certain type of almost affinity and luxury that falls into that branding. So those are the things we want to discuss. Secondly, when we look at collaborator objectives, as it applies to collaboration and strategic partners, does this particular company, yes or no, possibly have collaborators that they work with? Is there kind of a company that they have to? So like NVIDIA is a great example that has a tremendous amount of collaborators in putting together their chips into different types of other products. So as those products grow, their demand for chips grows. So it becomes very good. Then you're looking at the competitive positioning between the top three competitors and what is their objectives related to each one of these. Okay. So again, Thursday, first post, 2 follow-up posts as you go through that. And then we finish up in week 3 with the project paper, talking a little bit about pretty much kind of a little bit about everything that we discussed in the particular discussion that we had. Basically, you're going to choose a business and then you're going to follow looking at the strategic objectives, the mission, vision, strategic goals, the market objectives, market penetration, diversification, product development, the customer objectives, when you're looking at, as we talked a little bit about, customer branding, the collaborator objectives, and then lastly, the competitor objectives in that way. Okay. Again, APA format. Again, make sure you're not using any type of platform that already has the particular objectives already spit out. I want you to come up with that objective. Okay. I don't want the mission for Starbucks from already been done from somewhere. Okay. I want you to develop that. I want you to obtain that mission from Starbucks and be able to elaborate on it in your own perspective. Okay. So those are the assignments as we go into, again, the Tech Live. If you're here today, just again, hit me up on attended the live lecture, and then you'll be all set in that way there. So if you have any questions, just pop it in the chat. I unlocked pretty much everybody here. So if you have any questions in that, feel free. Let's talk a little bit about market strategy. And basically, again, when we look at the strategic marketing, as you'll be talking about in the discussion boards a little bit, there's a number of ways that you're going to importantly look at this. You're going to look at the research. You're going to look at the competitive analysis. As we talked about previously, what is it that's important in making sure that you find out about that particular company and what that those particular those particular companies are dealing with when they're rivaling this particular company that you chose. Segmentation is very important. When we look at objectives and goals, we want to look at SMART goal approaches. And many of you are familiar with this. SMART goals, again, strategic, measured, okay? Things that are very important. I don't want basically the company looks to be the number one company in the world. No, there's a strategic way to grow themselves 10% within the next 3 years, and then hopefully become a prominent or the prominent company in chips for AI technology, period. Something like that. The other aspect is the strategy. What is the channels and techniques? How am I going to get this product to my customer? How am I going to be able to make sure that I'm dealing with the international marketplace in an advantage to myself? And then lastly, the measurements of this is by the KPIs and optimization. Have we accomplished this? How much products have we sold? What's the cost of goods sold? Now, as we talked about, and many of you have already done, looking at market research is the foundation. Again, just to reiterate some terms that probably you're very familiar with, is primary research, which is basically, again, research that's done on an instant. Excuse me, research that's done by you in like focus groups, interviews, surveys. So basically, you are gaining the research and obtaining the research at that present time. The second one is secondary research. This is when you get into different types of material that's already been published. It's already out there. Many of you do secondary research now. You look at industry reports, you look at market analysis, you look at competitive data, you look at the material that's online about the company in that way. All that is part of the way. The third one is social listening. This is where we look at conversations and discussions within the company. What is on the discussion boards? What's out there? The gentleman that you saw earlier on a video that they were talking to on the Bloomberg TV show is a business analyst for SpaceX. He does a lot of social listening. He does a lot of monitoring conversations, communication, dialogue that's happening within the company. Okay, visiting the company, talking to some of the employees, talking to some of the competitors, looking at what the boards are saying about the stock, etc. So, very important. Along with understanding where the company is, we talk about the different types of analysis that are being done. Porter's 5 forces, SWOT analysis framework, competitive analysis, looking at pricing, positioning, where they are in market share. All those things are very extremely helpful. The other term I talked about was the aspect of target audience and personas. And this is important because, again, to understand the future ability to look at diversification, to look at the potential of growth and market share, you have to look at the criteria of what the target audience that particular company is looking for. So when you look at things like demographics, psychographics, behavioral, these are all very important. Is my customer getting older and dying, that they're not going to use it? Is the product too expensive for this demographic? Okay. Is the psychographic changed? I mean, we look at different types of sports or different types of activities that are in vogue and then go out of style. I mean, if you're a maker of pickleball equipment, you're probably jamming right now because that particular activity has become very popular. But if you make shuffleboard stuff, you probably are not. So many of your customers are dying off there, right? So it's kind of changed a great deal. So very important that you keep aware of your particular demographic aspect and psychographic. Lastly is behavioral, brand loyalty, what triggers purchases. All these things are very important in understanding. when you're setting smart objectives, I want you to make sure that it's extremely important to understand that the objectives have these 5 specific elements within it. I'm going to put up on the announcements page a video about smart marketing objectives, detailing the specificness, detailing measurable, detailing achievable, detailing relevant, and detailing time bound. So it needs to be a specific, like increase 10% over the next 2 years. It needs to be measurable. I said 10%. So that is a measurable target. Third, it needs to be achievable. It can't be something that basically, it's impossible to do. Some people put like some bizarre, unachievable weight loss numbers when they want, I want to lose 10 pounds within the next 3 days. I mean, it's unachievable. But if you want it over the next 3 weeks, it's a lot more obtainable. Fourth, it's got to be relevant. It's got to be something within the objectives and target goals of the company. And lastly, time bound, within a certain amount of time so you can definitively know. Along with that, we come up with brand positioning and brand and value positioning. I'm going to specifically share with you a little bit of background on both of these. When we talk about brand positioning, I want to share a quick video with you which talks a little bit about what it is, and then we can kind of dive in a little bit more on this particular subject here. Let me share this with you.
Brand positioning is all about owning a single idea in the mind of the market. The most competitive brand positionings do 2 things at the same time. 1, they solve for the most relevant needs of your target customer, whether it's a desire or a pain point. 2, they highlight a positive about your company, and that positive shines a negative light on your competitors. Now, this doesn't mean negative campaigning. It means highlighting an implicit competitive advantage. Let's talk apples and oranges. Apple and orange juice are both sweet-tasting natural products. If natural, they are the better choice for you than soda and more exciting than water. So why does OJ dominate the breakfast table? When you think orange juice, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Vitamin C. Boom. A powerhouse brand position. What doesn't apple juice deliver? More vitamins. Starting your day off right means getting the vitamins you need. Customer pain point, nutritious breakfast beverage. Competitor weakness, less vitamin bang for the squeeze. Orange juice is the nutritious breakfast beverage. And that's depositioning done right.
So that kind of gives you a little bit of what is meant by positioning in the aspect of different items is trying to be able to identify a unique benefit that things do. A great example is, another one is we talk about Nike, Reebok, and Under Armour. Under Armour, in 2 ways, Under Armour has dominated certain areas of the athletic market because of A, they went into that proprietary dry wick technology, which allowed them to be able to have products that, again, get drier after sweating faster in that way. And then secondly, they articulated a value to their product when they linked up with The Rock and putting together that particular Under Armour brand material there. So they were able to, you weren't able to go to Nike and get the same aspect of the Project Rock compared to Under Armour in that way. But again, the key element that was exploited was the dry wick technology, which was very important to people at that time. They understood what a customer wanted in that way. So it was vital in the aspect of how they could be able to show that. So let's talk a little bit about value. Let me talk a little bit about value proposition. And I want to share this other video with you quickly, and then we'll jump into the rest of the material so you can see what of the value proposition is.
Every day, companies design products and services to improve their customers' lives. But 72% of new product and service innovations fail to deliver on expectations. This means that customers don't care about 7 out of 10 new products introduced to the market. It doesn't have to be this way. Just like you create value for your business with a business model canvas, there is in fact a tool to intentionally visualize, design, and test how you create value for customers. It's called the Value Proposition Canvas. The Value Proposition Canvas is composed of 2 parts, the customer profile and the value map. With the customer profile, you describe the jobs your customers try to get done. Jobs can be functional, like getting from A to B, social, like impressing friends and colleagues, or emotional, like gaining peace of mind. You highlight your customers' pains, which annoy customers while trying to get a job done. Pains are negative outcomes that customers hope to avoid, like dissatisfactions with existing solutions and challenges, frustrations, risks, or obstacles related to performing a job. And you outline customer gains, which describe how customers measure the success of a job well done. Gains are positive outcomes that customers hope to achieve, like concrete results, benefits, and even aspirations. Use the customer profile to visualize, test, and track your understanding of the people or companies you intend to create value for. It's a map that becomes clearer the more you learn about your customers. The second part of the canvas is the value map. With it, you list the products and services your value proposition builds on. You describe in which way these products, services, and features are pain relievers, how they eliminate, reduce, or minimize pains customers care about, making their life easier. And you outline in which way they are gain creators, how they produce, increase, or maximize outcomes and benefits that your customers expect, desire, or would be surprised by. The value map makes explicit how your products and services relieve pains and create gains. Use it to design, test, and iterate your value proposition until you figure out what resonates with customers. You achieve fit by creating a clear connection between what matters to customers and how your products, services, and features ease pains and create gains. Great value propositions target essential customer jobs, pains, and gains, and do so extremely well. Your customer profile may contain countless jobs, pains, and gains, but your value map highlights which ones you intend to focus on. But don't forget, an outstanding value proposition can still fail if your business model is flawed. Successful companies embed outstanding value propositions in scalable and profitable business models. Use the value proposition canvas to create products and services that customers want. Get started at strategizer.com.
Okay, so I didn't really, you don't have to really be familiar with the canvas aspect, but I wanted you to understand, the key thing I wanted you to understand was the aspect of value proposition, was the aspect of creating that particular differentiator of how your product is different than another, in creating that value in that way and providing that value. Now, say you've created that value. Let's say we've created that alignment, collaboration with Project Rock, and been able to make our product have that extra signatory material and graphics that are on there that makes the product more valuable than a regular sweatshirt or tank top or something like that. We need to be able to express that to the community so they know. Express that to your customers so they get there. This is where we get into strategic tactics and channels, everything from social media to content marketing to where you're going to have the deliverable either purchased online or purchased at the store. You're going to have SEO and SEM doing to refine your campaign online, and then email marketing, which goes into it also, which makes it very important in how that's particularly espouse to others. To measure this, you're going to do a budget allocation and then understand what are the key performance indicators, okay? How much customer lifetime value we're getting, how many repeat purchases, what's our sales, where are we actually being found? Are we being found online? Are we being found by our website, etc.? These are all measurements that we look at whether that innovation is good and that innovation is popular in that way. Okay, so I want to make sure that you're familiar with that. We're familiar with that material in that because, again, a lot of it is important to how that particular functionality is. And again, when we look at the full picture, I want you to make sure when you look at those objectives, when you look at the customer objectives, when you're looking at the competitor objectives, when you're looking at the collaborator objectives, what are the milestones? What are the measurements? What are the achievements that are occurring by that company in the aspect of capturing the customers that they want and helping them be able to convert to make better sales and grow in the marketplace? That's kind of the overall summation that you want to make sure that that does. Okay. So those are a couple of the slides I wanted you to be familiar with tonight in that way. Any questions? Just hit me with a no. Just want to make sure. Anybody has any questions? Just no. Okay, awesome. If you have any questions as we go along, please feel free to reach out to me. Jump into the chat. Jump into the Canvas and hit me with a question there or email or however you want. More than happy to help you in that way. So again, I hope everybody has a great week. Again, feel free, if you've attended the lives, just hit me with a quick document just saying, yep, attended the Tech Live, and then you'll be all set in that too. All right. So have a great week, everyone. Take care, and we'll talk with you soon.